What's going on, everyone? This is Ben with the Health Matrix, and I want to talk about, breaking free from the mainstream thinking and getting back to independent thought, breaking from the herd, and getting back to doing what actually works for health versus what we've been told, which again is part of this channel. A main focus of my channel is to break out of this matrix programming that we're in, where most of what we're told by the media and from mainstream personalities regarding health, and pretty much anything in general, but especially health, is not the best way to be healthy. And the only way you'll really find this out for yourself is by keeping an open mind and exploring and being open-minded to other solutions that may not be popular. Because let's face it, right? Most people aren't healthy. Most people, and I'm speaking in the United States, most people aren't healthy. Most people are overweight. There's a lot of diseases. People are sick all the time. Most people are just taking like drugs every single day, pharmaceutical drugs, obviously illicit drugs like alcohol and things like that, but even the drugs that people take every day are viewed as normal, even though they're really not. How's it going? So it becomes normalized, and then we think because everyone else is doing it, that makes it right. And unfortunately, we have a lot of trust in the government in the United States. But it's kind of like a cognitive dissonance type of thing, because most people, if you ask them, they say that they don't trust the government, and they know that they're not out for their best interest, and there's like a lot of financial incentives with corporations and drug companies and things like that, but then their actions don't align with what they're saying, and they end up just doing what everyone else does. So what I want to talk about is tips and things to look out for, and obviously health tricks, so that you can be really healthy in a world that normalizes being unhealthy. Now, what do I mean by health? That's the first question, right? When I get someone started on a training program or a health program, for me, being healthy is the absence, is like total health. I'm talking like optimal conditions, right? You're not sick, you have a lot of energy, you look good, you feel good, your brain is working very well, you don't have a lot of allergies, you don't have skin problems, like you're almost like a fairy tale, like a superhuman, superhero, more or less, right? Now that would be ideal. Now that's not always going to happen. That's not always going to happen, but that's what we should strive for, and that's what health means. Health does not mean that well, I'm overweight and I don't sleep that well and I've got a skin problem and an autoimmune condition, but besides that, I'm healthy. I hear that a lot. So you're not healthy is what you're saying. So we're looking at being optimally healthy, and I believe firmly that people can be really, really healthy, and we can be a lot healthier than we've been told, and we can really surpass a lot of the expectations that have been set for us by the mainstream, and I call it the health matrix. There's a lot of matrix out there. We're in this limited belief system, just like the movie The Matrix that I oftentimes am, quoting and things like that. People have these limiting belief systems where they believe that they are only capable of so much, and that's where their mindset has been in a way cemented shut, meaning that they no longer believe in any type of supernatural, metaphysical type of ideas like God and spirituality and things like that. And we ended up into this material world, 5 sense reality, where we think that everything that we see and hear and touch is all that there is. And that's kind of a depressing thought, because me personally, I know that we have a soul and that there's more to life than this. And this is just like a video game. And in fact, this is like one world of many. And so for that reason, it's up to us to be healthy. So going against the grain, here's what you can expect when you go against the grain. One, your circle of friends and influence and family and things like that, and acquaintance, people that you hang out with, is going to shrink dramatically. This happens anytime that you make positive changes in your life in any regard at all, or a big change. Like let's say you go for you quit your job and you go for a very risky endeavor in like a new business or something. Your circle is going to drop because people are going to see you doing something that they're not doing, and it's going to frighten them, because if you succeed, that means that they might be wrong about a lot of things that they know, and so naturally they subconsciously don't want you to succeed. They want you to stay stuck with them. And I'm not trying to like say like if you're doing the things I'm talking about, you're somehow better than other people or anything. It's just when you choose the path less traveled, you're not going to have this massive support structure. But you will find that most of the support structure that you thought you had was superficial, and these people almost more or less just want you to stay down where they're at. If you strive for high things in life, people don't like to see you succeed deep down inside. They may not be actively rooting against you, but they're usually not going to be working with you. And some people do oftentimes work against you in terms of planting negative ideas in your head, not supporting you, shooting your dreams down, doing things to sabotage your efforts. So you're going to have to just be used to having a smaller circle. Now you can still have a massive circle of influence, which is like one thing I like about getting into like a network marketing job and like being an influencer or having your own brand, especially with health and nutrition, is you can have a large like online community. The internet gives us the ability to reach millions of people all over the world. And you can also reach people all around your community. And so you can have a very large group of people that you impact, but you don't necessarily have to hang out with these people all the time. There's a good saying that if you want to help the poor, you can't be one of them, right? If you want to help poor people make more money, if you're poor yourself, then your resources are limited. That's one reason why it's very good to try and make yourself financially stable, although it's very tough in this world, especially right now. There are forces actively working to stop you from being able to do that. But, if you have a lot of financial resources, you can use that in your community to help people. And so if you want to help people with health and nutrition, you need to look the part. Like if I was really overweight and taking a bunch of medications and making excuses for myself like a lot of people do, then I wouldn't listen to myself in that regard, and I wouldn't expect people to listen to me about health and nutrition. So whatever field you're in, you need to excel at it and set an example, and other people will follow. You'll attract that tribe. So there's a positive and a negative to all of this, right? So that's the first thing. When you go against the grain, you're going to shrink, and you're going to notice that there's a small group of support. And when you do find people that do support you, you need to hold on for dear life, because those are going to be your best friends and your family, regardless of whether they're your real family or blood related or anything like that. The second thing about going against popular opinion is you're going to begin to expand your mind out, and you're going to really start to see things differently than most people. And you'll notice that a lot of people are, again, extremely closed-minded. So in the United States, for example, a lot of times we correlate like your level of education with how intelligent you are. So people will disregard you if you don't have a master's degree. Like they won't listen to you about health and nutrition if you're not a doctor. They would rather listen to someone that went through a programming like a public school system and advanced doctorates and things like that. And I'm not saying that it's bad to do those things. It's just that alone does not mean you're an expert. In fact, a lot of times, as a lot of people are finding out, the education system in the United States is heavily funded by massive industries that don't want you to exactly help people as much as push their agendas forward. Nothing could be more to the point than the health and wellness industries in the United States, like pharmaceutical companies, drug manufacturers, people that are making all these products, injectables, things like that. Like, they don't want you to go out and, if people are really, really healthy, drug companies don't make money because healthy people don't need drugs. And so, they're not making money. So when they fund the medical industry, which is what happens, naturally, that's why doctors are mainly out there skilled at prescribing medications, performing surgeries, things that cost a lot of money and don't typically fix your problem, in fact, make it worse. But when you're going to go against again, this all goes down to like you're just going to be fighting. You're going to be fighting the current a little bit. Now, the dichotomy there is that you can fight the current, but then also, like, when you find your individual little niche that you're in and you get into the flow, then you kind of let go. You let go of all the anxiety and all the doubt and all the things that these things cause, and then you flow. You get into that flow state, and that's when you're really in your groove, and that's when you're on your path, so to speak, and that's when you're going to find what really fulfills you and your destiny here. Because if you're constantly fighting it and you think that just going to school and getting a degree and showing someone your black square hat and your piece of paper is going to mean you're successful, well, I'm sorry, but that ain't going to cut it. So again, and so another thing, when you go against the grain and start to question things, you're going to find, and now this is the positive part, is that there's so much more going on here than people realize. In the field of health and nutrition, what I found is, there's a lot of different industries out there, and there's a lot of different practices that people do that are like acupuncture and herbalism. There's a million different resources we have, but that if you bring that up to the average person, they're like, well, I don't know, that sounds kind of woo-woo. Because again, if it's not like a drug or a surgery, a lot of people are just closed off to it. Just leave those people alone. They'll figure it out eventually, or maybe not. But it's not your job to, it's not your job to like provide detailed reports for these people and do all their homework for them. If they're interested, they'll come to you. If not, just move on. But herbalism, acupuncture, energy medicine, things like this. And yes, of course, there's charlatans out there. There's people that don't know what they're doing. There's people that are lying. There's people that aren't going to be very truthful about what they're saying. But for the most part, all of these things have a lot of uses. And, but you have to get out there, because you're never going to hear about this on the mainstream media. Like, you're never going to hear about herbalism from the United States government. You're never going to hear them talk about exercise, nutrition, things like that. All it is drugs, surgery, therapeutics, drugs. It's just all drugs. Basically, it's drug you into oblivion. I'm going to try and make that abundantly clear here. Their goal is to have you drugged down, stupid, and medicated for the rest of your life. And so, again, you go out there with an open mind, you find out, and then you start to practice these things. So if you just read about it, that's not going to do a whole lot. You might be able to give some information out to people, but you have to actually practice these things. Like, if you read about meditation, try it. Try the meditation. If you read about a new herb or a new type of nutrition protocol or something like that, then you can go and, make a new recipe, try the herb, do the meditation, spend the time. It's not going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be harder than going through the mainstream, because these are things that you weren't taught in school, and these are things that aren't talked about in the mainstream media. So you're going to have to figure a lot of it out for yourself, and you're going to have to find mentors and coaches and new people. And that's just the way it goes. And that's fine. Nobody said this was going to be easy, right? And the easy way is usually the bad way, and usually leads to disappointment. And the hard way is the way that leads to fulfillment and the real results. So you get out there and find new books, be curious, be like a little kid again. We're so caught up in this world of like science and, the truth, quote unquote, that like people are afraid to go out and just do new things, and then you end up in your comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone very, very often. Like, I didn't used to like to do videos like this. Everyone is basically afraid to speak on camera. I did it over and over again and finally realized, people need to hear this information. I didn't get paid anything. I still don't get paid anything for these videos or anything, but I'm just hoping I help one person out there and maybe I can create some kind of movement. And this is what I was meant to do. I'm a figure of being in great physical shape. So I feel like I know how to help people do that. So open-mindedness is another part. And all of this is about, again, breaking out of the matrix, right? Expanding your consciousness, you can call it, right? That's the last part of this. As you expand your consciousness, you're going to have bigger understandings of things, and you're going to be able to put more dots together, connect seemingly unrelated things in the world to have a better understanding of what's going on. Because a lot of people are just like, well, I saw a CNN article and it said this, and it's just, I immediately have to shut them off because it's not worth the time. Not saying you should never read CNN or anything like that. That's another topic for another video. But when you expand your consciousness, it's going to increase your confidence and your fulfillment and joy out of life, because you realize there's more to it. Because if you just get stuck in this three-dimensional world here, and these three-dimensional, materialistic things, that's what leads to addictions of all sorts, whether it be alcohol, drugs, porn, women, lust, scrolling on social media, endless, trying to acquire endless physical things, money, all of it. When you're stuck in there, you'll never be satisfied, because it's all going to go away when you die anyway. Don't forget that. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. Again, I'm over here in Norway. I can't even remember the name of the town we traveled through so quick. It's very hard to pronounce, but we're leaving back to the United States today. I wanted to make this video and to continue this channel. If you like it, subscribe, share, the whole deal. We're going to talk about all types of things about with health and nutrition, fitness, but I mainly like to focus on the mindset faction of things these days, because that's what's more important. The psychological part, the mindset, is way more important, and it sets the foundation for your fitness and nutrition journey. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope everyone's enjoying the day. Get outside, get in nature, get off the screen for a little bit, and don't worry, everything's going to be all right. All right, peace out.